Good morning, my dear students. Today we are going to discuss about the new topic, that is sewage pumping and its stations and why it is necessary and where it is located. So first of all, we will go to this section of introduction. Now, the sewage pumping. The necessity of lifting the wastewater or sewage arises under the following circumstances: when the area of the town uh, is so sorry when the area of the town is so low lying that it cannot be drained by gravity to discharge into a sub-main or main unless the entire sewerage system in the other parts is installed correspondingly at low level. In such conditions, it is more economical to pump the sewage from low-lying area into the upper branches. Basically, we have to understand that the necessity of the pump or the pumping arises when the water cannot or the wastewater cannot flow under the action of gravity. Therefore, we have to utilize the pump for the lifting purpose. Similarly, the main case arises here, and some circumstances are arises here that the area of town is so low lying that it cannot be drained by the gravity to discharge into the submain or main sewer unless the entire sewerage system in the other parts is installed correspondingly. Hence, the sewage in such areas should be pumped, and hence it is more economical to pump this sewage from this area. Pumping is restored to at intervals for a sewage system in a flat country, since laying of sewers at a design rate continuously all along will mean expensive excavation. Means if we are working in a low or flat gradient, therefore we will have to adopt the working phenomena of the pumping, because if we have to continuously manage the proper gradient or proper grade, we will have to maintain or we will have to bear the expensive excavation to maintain that gradient, and hence in such condition the pumping is more economical than this process and the conventional process of excavation and to maintain the gradient. Similarly, necessity of lifting the wastewater or sewage, that is pumping, is restored to when outfall sewer is at low level than the body of water into which it is to be discharged, or when the outfall is lower than the entrance to the treatment. Means outfall sewer is the last point of the sewer when it is used to discharge the sewer to the other unit, and hence the pumping arises when the outfall sewer is at low level and then the body of the water into which it is to be discharged, or when the outfall sewer is lower than the entrance to the treatment plant, and hence in such condition the necessity of pumping is arising. Similarly, when a sewer has to go across a ridge, means in such hilly areas, it will be more economical to pump into the sewer across the slope of the ridge at reasonable depth rather than driving a tunnel. Means we will, in the hilly areas, we cannot drive a tunnel to pass sewage from one area to another area if we are crossing a ridge, and hence in such condition pumping has to be adopted, and pumping is required to take out sewage from the cellars or sub-mains of the buildings when the level of the cellars is much lower than the inverted level of the sewers, to which drain connection is to be made. Means pumping is required from the areas of the submains, basements or the sub-basements of the residential areas or the buildings when the cellars is at much lower to the inverted level of the sewer, and hence we have to collect that sewage and we have to transfer that sewage into the existing sewer line. and hence this pumping phenomena or pumping is required in such situations. Similarly, these are the existing photographs. This is the photographs in the hill areas when the sewage is used to pass from a ridge, and similarly it is a outfall sewer when pumping is done for the outfall sewer to meet the water treatment unit and to the collecting intake structure. Now, what are the problems arises in the sewage pumping? The pumping of sewage is not as simple as pumping of water, because the following special problems are associated with the sewage. Now, which problems? That is, first, sewage has foul characteristics. Second, sewage contains lots of suspended and floating matters, and these may contain the running of pumps, and it may difficult and may cause frequent clogging of the pumps. And however, sewage contains organic and inorganic waste which may cause corrosion and erosion of the pumps, and hence it reduces the tips of the actual discharge of the pumps. So these are the basic phenomena or the characteristics are associated with the sewage, because it has very foul characteristics, because the handling of the sewage is much difficult as it is simple to handling of the water. Similarly, the sewage cannot contain sewage contain lots of suspended and floating matters like grit and other materials, and this may cause frequent clogging into the pump. Similarly, sewage contains organic and inorganic waste which may cause corrosion and erosion of the parts of the pump, and it reduces the lift of the pump and its life of the pump. Now, what are the problems in sewage pumping? First, that is the rate of flow of sewage varies continuously, and hence pumping operation are to be adjusted accordingly. Second, the size of sump limited, since large size sumps will result in the settlements of silts and organic matter as at its bottom. Third, the pump should be of high order reliability, since failure of pumps will lead to flooding which may cause unbearable nuisance. So these are the basic problems we are facing while sewage pumping, along with its advantages or its requirements. That is, the rate of flow of sewage varies continuously, and second, the size of sump is limited, since the large size sumps will result in the settlements of silts and organic matter, and hence it is difficult to drain out or to remove the settled sludge. Similarly, the third point will be the pumps should be of high order reliability, since failure of pumps will lead to flooding. Similarly, moving forward, these are the pictures shown in the actual sewage pumping. The rusted pipeline, corrosion pipeline, the actual sewage pumping line shown in this figure. Now, pumping station and location of pumping station. Now, which location or which sites should be selected for the pumping stations? The first point is that proper location of the pumping station requires a comprehensive study of the area to be served to ensure that the entire area can be adequately drained. Means you have to ensure that the entire area or the entire zone should be adequately drained. If large quantity of sewage is to be pumped, the site should be nearer a stream or a nala or a storm water drain into which the sewage could be discharged during emergencies such as breakdown of the pumping plant, or even during the failure of the power, etc. Means if we are observing that very large quantity sewage is to be pumped, then in such situations the site should be nearer to the stream, where it's to be discharges, where the sewage is to be discharges, and during emergencies such as the breakdown of the pumping plant or during the failure of the pump power, it can be taken as it is. If this precaution is not taken, the station should be located and constructed in such a manner that it will not be flooded at any time. The stormwater pumping station capacity, the station to be located that if it is easily accessible under all weather conditions, means it should not be flooded with the stormwater. The stormwater pumping station capacity and the station should be located that if it is easily accessible under all weather conditions. So these are the actual photographs which are in which the pumping stations are located. Now, what are the elements of pumping stations? Apart from the structure of the pumping house, a sewage pumping station consists of the following elements. First, grid channel or treated spits, coarse and fine screens, sump or wet well, pump room or dry well, pumps, and other miscellaneous accessories such as pipes, valves, float switching arrangement, flow recorders, emergency overflows, ventilation arrangements such as extraction fans, etc. Means these are the components which is involved in the pumping station while the process of sewage pumping is in progress. So you have to keep it in mind that which are the components are required for the installation of the pumping station. So this is the actual plan and sectional elevation shown in this figure, that what are the elements are associated in the pumping station. So in the bottom a plan is given, and here drive well, ladder, driving shaft, and two pumps are given, and two wet wells are given, that is intake pipe. These are the intake pipes where the sewage are carried, and here the it is associated or it is discharged. A well is, that is a sump well is prepared, and the total intake waste or sewage is collected, from where it is pumped and it is discharged. Now we will see the sectional elevation so that it will be easily accessible to us, that after the sectional view of the current plan, we will come to know that there are two components, that is dry well and wet well. In the dry well, the pump and its accessories are associated and are installed, and in wet well the sewage water, that is the collected sewage water from the locality or from the zone, is collected. So this is the intake pipe, and the influent sewage is collected at the at the wet well, and the pump having the suction pipe is attached into that wet well, and this is the rising main, that is the delivery pipe is attached to the treatment plant discharge pipeline. Okay, and this is the driving shaft, because a motor is associated which operates that pump, and a driving shaft is also associated to this pump, and this is the discharge to the treatment plant. A ladder is given, is provided, so that we can easily accessible into it, into the structure, and for the frequent maintenance if it is required. So this is the elements of the pumping station. So what is pumping station? Elements, that is dry well, wet well, rising main, and pumps used. And what are the various types of pump used? That is centrifugal, reciprocating, propeller, or of axial flow, air pressure pumps, or ejectors. So these are the elements of pumping station, that is pump house structures. So we have seen just now, so we will skip the theory. This is the actual working photographs of the pumping sewage pumping. Now, pump house structure. A grit or data split is provided. The sewage entering into the pumping station contains a lot of indestructible solid matter such as grit, racks, sticks, faces, etc., all of which is in suspension as long as the sewage is flowing. It is therefore essential to remove all this matter as possible before pumping, so as to minimize the wear and tear of the pump impeller and rising main. The grit separated from the sewage by the provision of the grit chamber or after the providing a screen. A grit channel is a long basin channel which is enlarged cross section. So you have to first understand that what is the grit chamber. That is, grit means a grit particle, and it is a chamber which is provided in the in the pump house structure, in which all the particles or the suspended particles which can settle by its own. After the process of screening, it is settled so that the grit particles such as grit, rags, stakes, sand, etc., which are remains in suspension in the sewage flow, can be settled or removed, so that it will minimize the wear and tear of the pump impeller, and it will not come in directly contact with the pump, and hence it will remove preliminary before it entering into the pumping station. And so we will we generally provide a grit chamber before the sewage entering into the sewage pump, and hence the grit is separated by the sewage by provision of grit chamber before or after the screens. A grit channel is long basin, means it's a long basin or a settling tank having a enlarged cross section, and this results in the reduction of velocity of flow, and this reduce the velocity of flow, that is 0.15 to 0.3 meter per second, so that the suspended solid can easily settle down at the bottom. So we will see in detail the grit chamber in the in few lectures afterwards in the conventional treatment plant of the sewage treatment plant. Similarly, these are the screens. Screens are provided for the after the removal of the sewage. It is made to pass through the screens to trap the floating matters such as these rags, sticks, papers, etc. It is necessary to remove all these material, otherwise they choke and damage the pumps. Screens are of two types, coarse and fine. In installation, it is usually to provide both, coarse being the first intercept to flow, and coarse screen is made up of wrought iron bars kept parallel to each other and having a clear spacing of 50 to 100 mm in between, and the material is trapped by coarse aggregate can be removed by hand raking, and the screening strapped by fine aggregates are removed by the mechanical rackers. So these are the screens which is generally provided after the grit chamber, so that the fine materials are settled in the grit, and the floating matter can be arrested in the in this green, and the collected matter in the screens can be removed by the hand raking in the coarse screen, and in fine screens it is removed by the mechanical racks. Okay, so moving ahead, sump well. This is the pumping station are provided with two separate wet well for receiving the income sewage and dry well for housing the pumps, which we have just now seen in the elements of the pumping station. This is a sump well in which the sewage is used to collect. Now, rising main walls and fittings. Rising mains walls and fittings means the pump sewage is led to high level gravity sewer through rising mains. The rising mains are made up of steel, cast iron, spun iron, or asbestos cement pressure pipes. Generally, cast iron pipes with flange joints are provided. The flange joint provided easiness in dismantling the repair of pumping station equipment. The length of the discharge pipe should be kept as small as possible because the long detention of sewage in closed pipes under pressure causes an anaerobic deterioration. This is very important line, that and as far as possible, rising main should rise steadily from the pumping station to the point of discharge. The velocity of flow in the rising main should not less than 0.75 meter per second, and at the same time velocity is higher than 2 meter per second should be avoided. Means you have to understand that what is rising main. Rising mains is the pipe or the delivery pipe, okay, that which is made up of steel, cast iron, spun iron, or asbestos iron. Generally that cast iron pipes with the flange joints are provided, and flange joints are provided because it is easy to dismantle or easy to repair at the pumping station equipment. Okay, now this is the most important line, because the length of the discharge pipe should not be kept should be kept as small as possible, because the long detention of sewage in closed pipes under the pressure causes their anaerobic deterioration. Because if we will use long pipes or long carry the sewage dischargement from the rising main, they will start their anaerobic decomposition in the pipe itself, and hence this is the reason we will have to keep the discharge pipe as small as possible. For economic design, the velocity of rising main is 0.85 meter per second for normal rate of pumping is desirable. So these are the rising mains, that is the discharge pipe, walls and fittings. Now which walls are provided? That is in reflux, that is non-return wall is provided on the rising main just next to the pump to prevent the black flow through the pump when the pump is stopped. Check valve should be provided in the sewer line discharging the sewage to prevent the backflow of sewage during the floods in the river or discharging area. Similarly, gate valve should be provided on the sewer line just before the wet well and on the suction and discharging pipe to close the flow of pump during the maintenance, inspection and repairs of the pump. So these are the fittings, that is the walls fittings, check valves, this is the non-reflux valves, gate valves. Okay, which types of pumps we are using? That is, following are the types of pumps commonly used for sewage and storm water pumping. That is, first is most commonly, that is centrifugal pumps. Second, reciprocating pump. Third, propeller or axial flow pumps. And fourth, air pressure pumps or ejectors. Sometimes ejectors are also called as shown ejectors. Okay. So moving further, we will see the pumps type easily. The types of pumps. First, centrifugal pumps. Centrifugal pumps are most commonly and widely used for pumping sewage and storm water, as this can be easily installed in pits and sumps and can easily transport the suspended matter in the sewage without getting clogged too often. And these pumps work on the principle of centrifugal force. These essential consist two main parts, that is the casing and the impeller, and the impeller rotates with high speeds inside the casing. Similarly, the centrifugal pumps can be classified as axial flow pump and radial flow pumps. These are the mixed flow pumps and these are the radial flow pumps. Now, next is reciprocating pumps. Reciprocating pumps are more or less obsolete in modern sewage pumping stations, since they are liable to be clogged or by solids or fibrous materials, even though the sewage may have to pass through the port screens. Also, their initial cost is higher and efficiency is low than the those of the centrifugal pump. However, in such cases where it is required to deal with difficult sludge and where large quantity is to be pumped against low head, reciprocating pump may be used after passing the sewage through the screen with 20 mm spacing. This is the reciprocating pumps. Reciprocating pumps are of also two types, that is the ram type and second is propeller type. Next is air pressure pump or pneumatic ejectors. Air pressure pump or pneumatic ejectors works on the action of the compressed air. These are used for the following conditions: where the small quantity of sewage is to pump from the basement of the building to a higher level of the sewer, where the quantity of wastewater from the low-lying areas does not justify the construction of the sewage of the pumping station, and where centrifugal pumps of smaller capacity are likely to be clogged, and hence in such situations the ejectors are used. So this is the cross-sectional view of ejectors. What are the major advantages? No sewer gases can escape through the vent shaft as sewage is completely closed. Operation is fully automatic and ejector comes into the operation only when needed. Only a few part of sewage in contact with sewage, thus necessitate little attendance or lubrication. Ejector less susceptible to clogging. These are the sometimes many times the shown ejectors are used. Now the air pressure to be maintained in the pneumatic ejectors is mentioned here. When the sewer in the chamber is discharged, when the sewer level in the chamber fall below the cup, the weight of the sewage in the cup causes the spindle to be dragged down. This cuts off the compressed air and hence open the ejector to the atmosphere by opening the exhaust. This is the working phenomena of the ejector. The volume of air stored is air storage tank, and the characteristic of the compressor should be adequate to provide at least 40% higher than the required to raise all the sewage to the maximum computed lift. Now, power required for the pumps. Power for pumps, that is power for operation of the pumps, can be supplied by using the following methodology, that is steam engines, internal combustion engines and electric motors engines. So electric motors are widely used, and these two methods are also used but in some special circumstances. So with this I am concluding my today's lecture. I hope you will understand these the sewage pumping lecture, and if you have any doubt or query related to this today's lecture, you may please put your query in the comment box. I am ready to answer each and everything, and I am signing off from here. Thank you for your patience listening.